My rules. I was about 8 when I realized I was doomed. The feeling that began in 3rd grade, that gnawing in the pit of my stomach when I throw away my bologna sandwiches rather than face them coming up again halfway through math, was here to stay. They put me in the hospital then, inconclusive tests that meant nothing except they hooked me up to a tube that I didn't have to pee, and once I had to poop so a skinny nurse could measure it. I thought that was really funny. I wondered what kind of rulers they had for poop, but no one ever came back to tell me if mine was too long, too short, or just right. They never told me what to eat, what not to eat, or why I felt sick all the time. I began to worry about things I couldn't control, like when I was going to die, or if the gum I chewed really did stay in my stomach for 7 years, and if so, how many years did I have left before it came out? Then there were the killer bees. They were coming from Africa, and they were going to kill me. Stuff like that really haunted me. I played with other kids, but I was haunted. I knew better than to tell them my secrets, because the few times I did, they laughed like I was joking, or like my friend across the street, who had a for-real crazy mother who tried to kill herself a few times a year, and an ambulance would come to take her to Solomon's mental hospital. Well, she just raised her eyebrows at me and say, "Donna, you're crazy." That scared me. She told me her mother was sick, and that's why she did those things, and now she told me I was crazy. But I knew the bees were coming, and they were going to sting me to death, just like the Pope knew when the world was going to end and locked it in the box and wouldn't tell us. Damn the Pope. Oh, another black mark on my soul. I was doomed. I couldn't turn around without dooming myself again. I refused to go to confession anymore after an argument with my mother. By some miracle, we went to public school. My father, having been battered by nuns enough, may have had something to do with this. In any case, after the fun wore off after First Communion, I announced I was no longer going to confession. And why is that, young lady? My mother always used that imperious term when I was about to get it. Because I came out with more sins than when I went in. What? My mother was always easily confused, and I knew at that moment I had her. The priest kept telling me, "Go on, my child," but I didn't have any more sins, so I lied and made them up. Then I had to say I lied, which was another sin. So I came out with more sins than when I went in. I'm not going in there anymore. She sat there with a strange look on her face, exhaled her Winston, took another sip of her Manhattan I had just made her, opened her mouth, but stopped. We never spoke of it again. Still, that didn't stop her 3 years later from sending us directly to Father McMahon on Wednesdays as soon as my parents split up. My brother and I had to report to his rectory office. Father met us in his casual clothes, that is, black shirt, black pants, and white collar. It was odd not seeing him in his Sunday robes. We sat in 2 chairs sullenly facing him. "So, you both know why you're here. Your mother thought you might want to talk about some things, about how you're feeling." I said nothing. My brother, my mother's perfect angel child, gave him one of his best Opie Taylor smiles. "Patrick, is there anything you want to talk about? It doesn't have to be about your parents. It could be about anything that's bothering you." "Nope." Father hesitated before he turned to me. "Donna." I could hear that tone. I knew my mother told him something. "Your mother?" I knew it! Knew what? I knew she told you something. "See, here she goes. She hates our mother," piped in Patrick. He should have been an altar boy. He was so helpful to Father McMahon by now. "Patrick, no one's saying anything, and hate is a very strong word. We don't like to use that word." Father McMahon interjected. I thought I was going to pee my pants on the spot. If he thinks that's bad, wait till he hears some of the names the little cherub calls me on a regular basis when his blessed mother isn't around. "Donna, what I was starting to say was that your mother thinks you are going through a hard time, that you are not talking and you're having some rough feelings. I want you to know this is a safe place for you." The only safe place for me would be anywhere with a 10-mile distance between me and my brother, where he cannot beat the shit out of me, where my mother doesn't say, "Kids fight," where I don't have to fight back by barricading my door with a dresser against his rage, where I don't live in terror. I know this is wrong and not normal. I vow never again to live like this. I feel so alone, and it is 5 years until I am 16. He is 2 years younger than me, but he is bigger than me and is violent, cruel, and sadistic. Nobody listens. Our priest's office is a safe place. Is this a sick joke? I had been making my mother 2 drinks a night for years. She started off with cream de mint, which baffled me because it tasted like NyQuil. Then she moved to Manhattans or martinis. I know because I made them with my little Mr. Boston's bartender's guide. 3 shots each times 2 drinks. 6 shots of hard liquor every night. And she sat there listening to the same Helen Reddy record, smoking her Winstons, and telling me my father was an alcoholic. It was no good, that he never cared about us, and that he cheated on her. She talked on the phone for hours, smoking Winston after Winston. In the morning, I got up, boiled the water, and made her taster's choice, putting her cigarette pack and matches next to the coffee. I made myself breakfast and dressed. One day in 5th grade, a teacher complimented me on my clothes. "You have nice taste," she said. "Who dresses you?" I lied and said my mother. I mean, she bought my clothes, but I had been making my breakfast and dressing myself since I was 6 years old. The sessions with Father McMahon didn't last too long. My mother became addicted to therapy because it gave her the attention she never got. She bragged about her sessions and her therapist and how skilled the therapist was and how I needed to go. She brought me to an office with chintzy watercolors where a drab woman in square glasses again asked me about my feelings. Again, I refused to give her anything. I hated her furniture, her lack of makeup, the way she nodded her head when I didn't say anything and pushed a box of tissues toward me. If this was a game, I was not going to play, not by their rules.
Whoa.